Greetings and welcome to part two of the Weezer Rant and Rank. This is our first part one and two video of any kind of artist because they have 14 freaking albums.
Thank you, Sofa King Rad.
That's right. This is from our Patreon from So Fucking Rad. He picked this for us. You too can pick one if you join our gold tier in Patreon. So as we left off, I was professionally cutting us right there before I made the number 7 pick. If it isn't like that, Jason edited it wrong.
Top tier editing here.
That's right. All right, so jumping back into it, number 7 for me is Make Believe. If you listen to...
Tell us why you put Make Believe so damn high.
Because I like it. Surprisingly, my note for Make Believe is, surprisingly, this is really good. This is actually good. I don't remember this album being this good whenever I first listened to it. It's not... It's definitely not my favorite. It's number 7, but it's kind of a middle of the road for me for as far as Weezer. I try to call him Everclear. As far as Weezer goes, this is pretty middle of the road.
I don't know. Tim's laughing.
I mean, you know, he almost called him Everclear, yes. And that just reminded me of a myriad of jokes. It's how do you tell the difference between Nickelback, Breaking Benjamin, Thrice, Shinedown, I don't know, 3 Days Grace?
How?
Yeah, how?
I don't know. They all sound the same.
Oh, come on, man! Thrice is awesome.
Yeah, Thrice,
are they?
And Everclear sounds great.
Their first couple albums are fucking great.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to cram those then next weekend. No, it's just that the term I heard recently was Red State Rock, and it's like it seems very fitting, it could be a country song, it could be a Bon Jovi song, but no, it's a modern rock song.
Yeah, modern rock's kind of
missing some rock.
Yeah. Pearl Jam kind of, I think they're kind of to blame. Everyone tries to sound like Pearl Jam, but they're just not Pearl Jam, and whatever.
Well, that's a whole other episode right there.
So, Make Believe, I said this earlier in our previous video, but the Black Album was poppy but not catchy. I think that Make Believe is poppy and catchy. I really like Beverly Hills and Perfect Situation. I know Beverly Hills is not some people's favorite song, but
stay tuned for top songs, where Joe puts it at number 2 is his top song.
I think it's a fun
Ed
song.
puts it as his top song.
You know Ed would.
Yeah, of course he would.
So, and then, the rest of them are good. We've already talked about Freak Me Out, Haunt You Every Day, that song that Jason sings really well.
How does it go, Joe? Sing it.
I mean, I'm not as good as you at it there.
I'm not singing. Every time I sing it, Captain Crunch comes for us.
Me and my best friend. The Damage in Your Heart. On Drugs, I'm not overly fond of. Peace was good. But, like I said, I think this is just a pretty middle-of-the-road album from Weezer, and I like it. So, Tim, give us your number.
Before I give you my number 7, I do have one question about Make Believe that you guys might have the answer to. Based on your description where you feel like it's a middle-of-the-road album, and they got Rick Rubin to produce it. It's album number 5.
Still love it.
That is typically the sign of a band trying to recapture something. Mm-hmm. Is that what was going on, and do you think they succeeded?
Make Believe and Perfect Situation were pretty big radio.
Yeah, they kind of make it. So look, I got a special limited edition number here.
Oh,
of Make Believe.
That's always cool.
Same with
put that baby on Discogs.
Same with Green, wherever it's at. It's actually a lower number, 439.
Nice.
I took a Sharpie to the back of mine and wrote number 1.
Yeah, Make Believe was because it came after. No, yeah.
Maladroit.
So I think
Maladroit,
again,
however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, Maladroit. I think Maladroit didn't sell well, and so Rivers was like, okay, we're gonna go back, back up to the poppy side, to the radio side, and write Beverly Hills.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean that is the sign. Usually on your fifth album, if you're getting Rick Rubin, you're trying to like make moves. So,
I mean the Rick, what's his name? Rick guy that produced Blue, Green.
Rick Ocasek.
Yeah. That's who they should have stuck with.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Absolutely. Okay, where are we at? Number 7?
Number 7.
Okay, so my number 7 is going to be Pacific Daydream. Apparently, this is a hot take by having it too high. I actually kind of liked half of it. It starts off slowly. I don't have any notes for Mexican Fender. It didn't leave me with anything. The Beach Boys song sounds like a Sugar Ray, and that kind of moves on.
You know a whole lot about Sugar Ray.
Well,
if you put a gun to my head right now and said, name a Sugar Ray song, you would say, I'd be dead. It'd be over.
No, come on. You're my butterfly, honey, sugar.
Is that Sugar Ray?
Well, I'm pretty sure that was Crazy Town. Sugar Ray had, I Just Want to Fly or something.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're the same band. Again, it's the same joke as before, just different genre.
Sugar Ray, if you want to come on the show and defend yourself, feel free.
And Crazy Town.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Please, come on. Feels Like Summer kind of has that R&B pop feel to it. In my notes, I asked when Moves Like Jagger came out, and I just looked that up, and it was 7 years before this song. It does feel, though, that it was written for 2017 alternative rock radio. Shout out to 107.7 The End. And then the album takes a turn that I was not expecting, and I ended up actually really enjoying. I think Happy Hour, Weekend Woman, and QB Blitz are like pretty good. I'm a sucker. I got to put out the little asterisk here. You put bells in a song, I'm probably gonna like it. And they put it in like 4 in a row here. The QB Blitz, it's still kind of Sugar Ray, Foo Fighters. We're just going for the radio, but it's a good song. Weekend Woman had that Beach Boys bridge. Happy Hour felt like a Kool in the Gang song, and I think that's really where I kind of went, if I look at this as a Weezer album, I could see where Weezer fans would be very disappointed. Mm-hmm. But if I just look at it as a piece of music that I'm supposed to do, and I ended up enjoying those songs. And Get Right was kind of fun. And then the album kind of swerves for me again at the end. I got it at number 7. We're right in the middle of the pack here. As a rock album, this thing fails miserably. As a pop album, it's pretty good. And so it was around this time that I started asking, what is Weezer a rock band anymore? Or are they just a pop band now?
Weezer's just wheezy.
Well,
who knows?
Yeah, Jason, they hate it when you make fun of their asthma.
Well,
that's a great question. I've never been very good at defining genres of music. I'm generally pretty terrible. I have people ask me all the time, what genre I think this band is, and I was like, I have no idea. So
I like taking two things, putting it in a blender, and that's what the genre is.
Oh yeah. No!
I think this would be pop rock.
Pop rock, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that, but even then, this is a pretty dancey album.
Oh yeah, and I love the sound of it. I think this album It being number 10 on mine I felt pretty low because of how much I enjoyed listening to it when I was listening to a lot of other things, and I was like, oh, these aren't great as far as a Weezer album, but it's just fun to hear.
I mean, some albums are like super pop, some are like pop rock, some are a little garage rock, a little emo. You know, they're kind of all over the place.
I saw all of that. I heard all of that throughout their catalog for sure.
Jason, what do you think?
Some of it's 80s metal.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, shout out to Desmond Child, Part 2, Episode 2 here. Like,
all right, sorry, Hillary, but I'm gonna have to. It dropped a place. I'm gonna have to go Red Album. This is one of Hillary's favorites.
Grease.
You can see Grease on the Leonard Skinner video. I don't mind Troublemaker. It's decent. Lyrics are corny as hell, but come on, it's Weezer.
Yeah, you're not going to get much better.
Right. Yeah, you know, the greatest man that ever lived. I'm sorry, that's top tier Weezer. It's Rivers talking shit. It's funny. Kind of reminds me of El Scorcho with the different stylistic changes, the tempo changes in it. Heart songs, Tim kind of already mentioned it, but so many musical references. Ava, Devo, Minotaur were there the day John Lennon died. Shout out to Grease. He said that this is how his kid learned that John Lennon was dead.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was playing this album and he was like, wait, John Lennon's dead? And Hillary's like, yeah. And then he had to explain how he died. And I was like, well, was your kid sad? He's like, no, he was mad. It's like, yeah. And he asked who shot him, and Hillary said, doesn't matter. His name doesn't matter. So,
it doesn't, but what does matter is that he's now a free man, and that should trouble people.
Yeah, that's... All right.
And doing acoustic shows. Like, he's like in a rock band or whatever.
I didn't know that.
But we won't go into any of that.
So. Yeah, we're not getting that publicity, but that's crazy. Who knew?
Yeah, it is. Literally.
Everybody Get Dangerous is dumb, but it's so fun. I mean, it sounds like badass, like but then the lyrics is like, when I was younger, I used to go and tip cows for fun. Yeah. Actually, I didn't do that because I didn't want the cow to be sad. So like most of it's like things that Rivers didn't even do. He was just around other people that did it.
Yeah, or the stereotypical, like, this is what kids are doing tropes.
Yeah. But it's so stupid, it's fun. Dreaming's okay. And I Thought I Knew, Cold Dark World, and Automatic. Automatic's probably the best, though. It's Patrick, the drummer, singing. And the music's probably the best of the three.
That one definitely did stand out, not just because he's singing it, but it was a pretty good song. So.
Yeah, musically, it's probably the best of those. The Angel in the One that's a fantastic closer, one of Weezer's best. If they would have swapped, I don't know, you guys probably, because there's 14 fucking Weezer albums, didn't hear the deluxe version.
No.
I heard 2 of the tracks off of it. And before I realized I'd gone too far, I was like, these are not. This album ended. How did we get to this point? But
I love Miss Sweeney and Pig. If those 2 would have been, and even Spider, which is kind of slow and acoustic, if you would have replaced the 3 that Rivers didn't sing with those 3, this album would be a lot higher. And I think that's where Hillary got screwed up, because he kept talking about how the Red Album was like one of their best. And, you know, Mrs. Sweeney was like, well, that's not technically on the album. There's only 10 tracks on the album. He's like, oh, well, okay. So, but yeah, Mrs. Sweeney.
I definitely, with 14 albums in front of me, skipped all deluxe editions, tried to like get through them as quickly as possible. Yeah, and if one popped up that I liked that has a deluxe edition, maybe I'll go revisit it. But
Miss Sweeney's a good. That's a pretty good.
Yeah, Miss Sweeney's really good. And I like Pig too. But you telling me you didn't listen to all the Alone Rivers demos? Alone 1, 2, 3, 4.
I mean,
come on, you didn't do your research.
To be fair, that would be the stuff that I'd probably like the most.
Yeah.
I love home recordings. I love demos. I love remixes. I love stuff like that. And yeah, if I have the time, like I just didn't have time, on this one. But I can easily go back and fill in the gaps. And
The Pinkerton years is good. The Alone
okay.
Pinkerton years is good.
I'm curious to hear a Christmas album that I see came out, and I'm also curious to hear
Christmas album.
The seasons EPs that you say are pretty good. So
that's one good thing about Weezer, because like a lot of bands like do all these demos and stuff, and then they like lock them in a vault. You never hear them; you just hear rumors of them. But Rivers will just share all kinds of bullshit. Like you can see his everything. He's posting things on TikTok and everything. So
yeah, no, I love people who are able to do that and are proficient enough to actually just have that kind of stuff laying around.
Tim, give us your number 6.
Okay. So number 6 is going to be an album that we haven't talked about yet.
Okay.
And it's one I didn't take notes, so I don't know what song was what. But I'm going to go with Maladroit. I do remember thinking this one was pretty interesting. I could see where like the fans weren't quite on board, because it's a little louder and rockier than everything that had come out before it. Really, it's and I'm looking at this track titles now. Like, again, I didn't take notes, so I couldn't tell you one thing or another. But one thing I have to shout out for a number of these albums that I was very happy about is most of these albums are only half an hour long.
Yes.
And that's welcome. Like, I love an album that can get down and out, and like this one has 13 songs and it's 33 minutes. That's a pretty good track. This is definitely one I'm going to go back and revisit with some liner notes and pay attention to what songs what. Doing a little bit of research as I was able to, mostly through Wikipedia, including right now. I see that like there was some fan like involvement with this album.
yep.
So I'm curious to learn more about that.
Yeah, like I said, the story of their albums are much better than the albums.
Okay. Yeah. And no, this is we have officially hit like albums I would go back and listen to again. And yeah, I think of the ones that are left, this one just nothing jumped out at me like specifically. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good album, and especially compared to some of the stuff that we've already gone over. Like, yeah, give me this.
Sorry, Joe, I'm going in front of you because that's my next one too.
Well, we'll look at both of y'all.
Hot take.
That's a little down there, y'all.
Okay, well,
It's not that far down. We're in the top 6 now. Shoot.
yeah, 6 out of 14 plus 14 plus.
Oh wait, I fucked up.
Perfect.
That is not my 6.
It's better.
That's not my 6. Go ahead, Joe.
No, it is your turn.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go with OK Human. You got something to say about that, Joe?
No, that's a better choice than Maladroit for 6.
Okay. So this one, Weezer with an orchestra, it just works for me. This album is pretty damn good. All my favorite songs. I love this song. It's a great opening track. Alu Gubi has a great melody, and the way it leads into the Grapes of Wrath is so good. It's a song about books. Grapes of Wrath is a song about books. A lot of references. It's nerdy. It's totally Weezer. Playing my piano is just about that. Him playing his fucking piano. Screens. Screens is a little cheesy. Sounds like a boomer song talking about everyone staring at screens. But he ain't wrong, though. The whole album is just chill and pretty.
Be sure to like and subscribe and look at the screen and click the bell. And
Stare at the
Do it on
screen.
your phone.
That's right.
Do it on your TV. Do it on your Blu-ray player. Do it on your tablet.
Your Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
There's just not
Old
really
school calculators.
there's not a bad song on it. It's chill. You got to be in the right mood to listen to it. But for 2021 Weezer, I'll fucking take that. But I can see why you wouldn't, like, why you place it so low, because it is a completely different
Yes.
sound. Like it's very slow and chill, and
Yeah, like 12 albums or 13 albums in, or wherever I was at that point. That is not what I wanted.
My number 6 is going to be the Red Album.
There you go, Hillary. He put it where I originally had it.
Yeah, I like the Red Album. I thought the Red Album was actually going to end up a little higher than that, but as I got through listening to the rest of these albums, I was like, the Red Album's it's good, but it's not. I don't know if it's above 6 good. That's not this. I'm looking at the wrong one. I was about to tell y'all something dumb. Everybody would have made fun of me. Troublemaker's good.
No,
I like
never.
that. I almost started reading off Maladroit.
Yeah, we'll see how you put Maladroit in my rock spots.
Messed me up. The Greatest Man That Ever Lived is a fun. I think that's a pretty funny song. I think it's a. I don't. Like I said, there's some cringeworthy things that we do in Weezer. I think that one's just funny. Pork and Beans I like. Heart Songs is amazing. I love a reference.
Shout out to Grease's Pork and Beans.
That's right. Available at your local supermarket. Maybe.
Or you can pick up direct from supplier at the Honky Tonk Garage.
That's right.
That's where I get mine.
Heart Songs, if you references I'm a huge fan of. So referencing all these other bands and, how he loves the songs and how his songs have turned into other people's heart songs, I just like that a whole lot. Everybody Get Dangerous is kind of goofy. Not bad, but goofy. And then it kind of falls off a little toward the end. Angel in the One's good. I'm with you. I liked Automatic, but it's still, to me, we're still in kind of that dip. Miss Sweeney is great, but I didn't count it for this. But I do like.
I'll have to go back to that one.
Yeah, at least that song. Like after Angel in the One, I was like, oh yeah, that's probably the closing track right there. Then Miss Sweeney popped up, and I was like, this does not sound like it should have come after a closing track. And I started looking. I was like, "Oh yeah, I've gone too far. I've gone too far into Deluxe Edition." So yeah, that's my number 6. Jason, what's number 5?
Miss Sweeney should have been on that album, though.
No shit. Definitely should have.
Also, if you buy direct from Honky Tonk's Garage, and if you get 10% off of Grease's Pork and Beans, if you say Roll Tide Roll. Well, you should know my number 5. It's Maladroit. That's how I got fucked up, because I don't have OK Human on vinyl, and I was looking at my vinyl. Is that okay, Joe?
Closer. That's better.
All right. This album is underrated. When it comes to Weezer, like, people just forget this album exists.
Yeah, because there were no hits or anything off of it. I don't remember much press or anything. It was Green Album, then it was Beverly Hills.
Yeah, they didn't.
To those of us who weren't following.
Yeah, they didn't really promote it. They did do a video with the Muppets, though, and I highly suggest you watch that one for Keep Fishing.
Okay.
That shit is hilarious.
Okay.
American Gigolo, Dope Nose, Keep Fishing, Take Control, all top tier Weezer songs. I don't really like Death and Destruction as the 5th track. It feels like it should have been further on the album. Slob and Burnt Jam couldn't be more different from each other musically, but they both kick ass. The rocking part and solos in Burnt Jam are just fucking good. They're great. Space Rock, I take it as that it's about the writing and recording of Maladroit, the process with his fans, because so what he did was they were sending demos to fans, and they would help the process. Oh, this could be better, blah blah blah. And basically most of the feedback he got was write the Blue Album. So he got pissed off at him.
Well, I mean, he kind of walked into that one, didn't he?
Yeah, they were like make another Only in Dreams, and it's kind of been screenshotted over and over again where Reavers is just like Only in Dreams is dumb. It's a dumb song. Get over it. But he says you want to cry when you're dealing with the kids. They know it all, and they're pinning you to the boards. So I think this is he got pissed off and wrote a song about him. Slave's another top tier Weezer song. Possibilities is a fast rocker, kicks ass. And December is a great, amazing cult closer. Overall, Maladroit definitely scales on the higher side of the catalog for me.
I like all those things you just said. Let's remember those for later down the road. My number 5 is going to be this one. This one was tough for me because I want to put this album higher, but I don't. I just don't think I can. I'm going to say "Okay Human."
I'm gonna have to go back to that one. Because I know the Weezer fatigue was kicking in by the time I got to that, so I'll have to go back to that one.
When I heard this, it was like a breath of fresh air from Weezer fatigue. So I really really enjoyed this album. I've only listened to it all the way through once, and I do want to visit it again because I thought the him playing with an orchestra and having the different symphony type instruments with him just worked. I was like, this works really, really well. This is not the album I need to do. Boy, these taking notes like I did. Let's not do that ever again, guys.
Hey, better be on top of your game next week when we go through the Offspring because
Yeah,
there'll be a lot of diverse songs on the Offspring.
that's right. I won't know what I'll be like. That song that sounds like "Pretty Fly for a White Guy." That one, the same one on every album.
Second worst song I've ever heard in my life.
All my favorite songs, I love it. Alagabi's great. Grapes of Wrath, once again, we just talked about how I love references. And I'm a huge nerd, so I love books. So it's really cool to hear all those references in a song that doesn't suck. So that's really where we go with it. You can hear references in songs that suck, but ones that don't are great. Numbers, Play My Piano, I really like both of those. I think Screens was okay. Bird with a Broken Wing was good. I like that a lot. Dead Roses was really good. I thought that La Brea Tar Pits was not the best closer for this album. It was just,
Yeah.
The last two songs, and Here Comes the Rain, I was just like, it's okay. So it kind of finishes on a weak note, but I really liked it all the way through. Just a fun. It was just cool. I think that's a really cool thing that he did, especially listening to a lot of the not so great albums leading up to 2021.
I mean, you had to get through Pacific Daydream and the Black Album. I understand.
And so we were kind of in a slump there for a moment. So good stuff. That was my number 5. Tim, what's yours?
Number 5, we are gonna go with Hurley. I actually kind of liked this album. It wasn't terrible. He brought in a whole host of outside songwriters, though. Shout out Desmond Child. He's on Trainwrecks. For those of you unfamiliar with Desmond Child's, resume, it started in 1979 with writing the hit song for Kiss, I Was Made for Loving You. So this is the man responsible for Disco Kiss. He wrote You Give Love a Bad Name, Living on a Prayer, Bad Medicine, and a couple other Bon Jovi songs. Wrote Dude Looks Like a Lady for Aerosmith. Got a bunch of Cher and Michael Bolton credits. Oh, man. Okay, yeah, that's a Wikipedia you should look. Desmond Child.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting.
Wrote Livin' La Vida Loca and She Bangs for Ricky Martin.
Holy crap. I didn't know that.
So, shout out Desmond Child. He wrote Trainwrecks here, and he plays on the piano. Ruling Me was okay. That was co-written with the dude that wrote Closing Time. Memories actually has like the entire cast of Jackass on background vocals. Let's see, Ryan Adams co-wrote Runaway. Tony Kanal from No Doubt co-wrote Smart Girls. Linda Perry co-wrote Brave New World, if you're unfamiliar with her resume. She was in Four Non Blondes. She wrote that Pink song, Let's Get the Party Started.
I thought
wrote most of the Hole's last album, too.
Okay, yeah. So clearly we're going for a pop sound on this album by bringing in all these songwriters. And strangely, I thought it worked. The album was produced by Rivers, so ultimately he had final say here. And I think this is one that he did pretty good on. There's a lot of, there's nothing great. A lot of pop rock, like the last song we talked about earlier, Time Flies, has that lo-fi effect going on that I kind of liked. I thought it works for an album closer. Let's see, Runaway. Runaway was the Ryan Adams co-write. It actually felt like one of the 80s Ramones power ballad type songs, like Something to Believe In or something like that. Which I'm a fan of, so this worked. Yeah, overall, I don't have much notes. I did give the album the letter grade of a B-. So, yeah, this is one I would definitely go back and revisit. I don't know if I'll eventually like it, but
who did it say? Did anybody co-write "Where's My Sex"?
Yeah, I got the thing up right now. That dude that co-wrote that has worked with Adele, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Ariana Grande, Michael Bublé.
Well, he screwed Rivers.
Yeah, well.
He was like,
let's hope Rivers got some good money out of it then.
Yeah. I like how Rivers was the final say there on it, and he just made the most okay album you could possibly make.
See, I feel like
stamp.
Maladroit and Hurley are like the two that are most forgotten about in their catalog.
And I could see where those are two of the more interesting ones. You know, they're experimental. Like this one, you know, I'm not a big fan of the bring in outside pop songwriters. Kind of go when you get Rick Rubin to produce the fifth album. Like it's a sign that something's wrong and needs to be fixed. But yeah, what year was this? This was 2010. Like, what were the Foo Fighters doing at that point?
Maybe Echoes, Silence, Patience.
Yeah, okay. And where was Green Day at that point?
Green Day had just put out 21st Century Breakdown in 2009.
Okay. So yeah, you know, it fits in with those. I don't think it's as good as either of those, but it's not far behind.
We got to bring Tim back when we do the Foo Fighters.
So
that one out.
Foo Fighters' Wasting Light was 2011.
Oh.
Echoes was 2007.
Oh, okay, I was off.
Okay,
then.
so we're in between those. So we're actually like skin and bones. We're doing like acoustic Foo at this point. So
Wasting Light's fucking good though.
Yeah, I love
that
album.
As like newer Foo Fighters, I guess it's not new anymore. I'm old, but
probably the last good one they put out.
Yeah, probably the last good one.
All right, Tim was last there, so I'm assuming that means I'm first for number 4. That sounds right. We're going to go with my number 4 pick is going to be Green, the Green album. I like
also known as Weezer.
Also known as Avocado. I mean, Weezer. I like the Green
That's
album.
Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam's Avocado.
Oh, they got Avocado? Mm-hmm. I think the Green album is a fun, poppy album. I don't love Hash Pipe as a song. I thought it was kind of a dumb song in 2001. I think it's kind of a dumb song now. When you were talking about like when you were going through it, I generally skip Hash Pipe after the very opening because I do kind of like the dun 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 part. But short of that,
which part do you like?
The dun 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 dun. Look for me on TikTok, kids. So Don't Let Go is good. I like
You
Photograph.
got to do a dance when you do it too,
Oh yeah, I
so
need
that
to
it
do
works
TikTok.
on.
Wait.
There you go.
Now you gotta go dun dun dun
Dun,
dun.
dun, 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 dun. That's perfect. TikTok, new TikTok dance, kids. Island in the Sun, I actually like. I kind of like that one. Crab, I'm not a fan of. Knockdown Dragout's good. Smile's good. Simple Pages is good. Um, oh, Girlfriend is fine. And Glorious Day's good. So, I think it's a good album overall. I like it. I think it's nice and poppy. I think the back half generally doesn't get any love because it doesn't have Hash Pipe and Islands in the Sun in it. Um,
It's all very samey to me. Like it's safe and samey.
it does feel like a safe album after coming off of Blue and Pinkerton, which is weird because it sounds completely different than them. And I would think that Blue and Pinkerton are safe albums for them. I mean,
Well, Tim
Shout out
already,
to Matt Sharp.
yep, Tim
yeah,
already mentioned why they
yeah.
lost that blue
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
sound.
So yeah, Green. That's my number 4. Tim, you're number 4.
Okay, so my number 4 surprised me. We're gonna go with Everything Will Be All Right in the End. Produced by Rick Ocasek. This is his final work with him. Rest in peace. Whatever. Shout out. I love the Cars. Um, yeah, this was a pretty good album actually. Like I had a couple clunkers there, and like right off the bat, like Ain't Got Nobody feels like old school Weezer. Back to the Shack feels like a mission statement. Like we're getting back to the old ways. Eulogy for a Rock Band. The notes I have for this, you might appreciate, is somewhere I've heard this before. Those are my notes, so I have no idea. Lonely Girl, though, sounds like the first album, and I liked it.
Oh my god. Sorry,
Oh,
my notes for Lonely Girl says almost sounds like a Blue Album song.
yeah, that's my notes too, actually. Yeah. And then my notes that I alluded to earlier, actually, for the next song, the I've Had It Up to Here.
Oh man, they froze.
So,
Oh, there we go.
which I don't know, at some point in the catalog, I could tell like Rivers really liked that song because he kind of like steals some melodies from it here and there. Let's see here. Let's see. Da Vinci was cool. Go Away, I really liked. Cleopatra, I really liked.
Patra, Patra,
Foolish
Patra.
Father was good. And then we get to the trilogy, which I liked the middle part, but
Okay.
I didn't like the intro or the outro. They just felt like I don't know, filler. They felt pointless. The intro, especially, it felt incomplete. But overall, I was really surprised by this album and how much I liked it.
Yeah, to do a trilogy like that, like it doesn't. You can tell the different tracks. Whereas you take something like Sonic Youth trilogy on Daydream Nation, where it like flows, or
Sure,
so it is very like boom, boom, boom. They almost had it right, almost.
almost, and if he brought in Desmond Child, they could have gotten it, like
Yeah.
right there. But no, I ended up really enjoying this album. So
Okay.
So you froze momentarily during all that. So, well, we got most of what you said, Tim.
okay,
I heard every word. It
That's
was
good.
beautiful. Uh, my number 4 and shit. Am I already at number 3?
No, you're number 4.
Yeah, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
so my
don't
number
look at the
4.
vinyl.
Yeah, the vinyl's actually. I own all these now. My 4 and 3 could be swapped depending on what day it is, but for today, it's going to be Everything Be All Right in the End. Joe is fucking crazy for putting it that low. This album,
I was shocked.
after 4 years,
The man who put Green way down there.
fuck Green. This album, you gotta remember, we went through Make Believe, we went through Ratitude, then Hurley, and then finally, like Rivers, like stopped for a minute. For 4 years, they stopped, and he actually put out a damn good album. Again, got the right producer. Um, and this album holds a special place in my heart because in 2014, I was driving my oldest to elementary school, and it was the same year as The Counting Crows, Somewhere Under Wonderland, and I think Rancid's Honor Is All We Know came out. And no, that one might have been later, actually. I can't remember. But, and we like go to Burger King, she'd get her little French toast sticks. And we would only listen to this album and Counting Crows. And she loved this album. Like, she loved British Are Coming, Back to the Shack was her jam, and seeing like a little, 5-6-year-old in the background singing Back to the Shack. And she's always, because Kim, my wife, has always sung Weezer to my kids, like Buddy Holly and Undone. Like they know Weezer. So anyway, the spoken intro to Ain't Got Nobody, is great. Just kicks off the whole thing. Like Tim said, it's like an apology back to the shack. 2 albums later, he's going to tell us we're to die.
But, but the intention was there and it worked. So
maybe I should play the lead guitar and Pat should play the drums. Yes, Weezer. Yes. I've had it up to here as another Rivers versus the Fans song, but it's good. The British Are Coming. There's no hidden meaning behind it besides it being related to fathers, which is one of the themes on the album. Because there's 3 themes. There's the fans, the girl, and fatherhood. And the songs aren't in the right order, but they all have a theme. It's a fucking it's too damn complicated.
I can see that. I can see that.
But the British Are Coming is a part of the father theme. Da Vinci has some fun lyrics in it. Foolish Father is almost a sequel to Say It Ain't So. Like he's finally like made amends with his father. And the Future Scope trilogy it's good. Like, part 2 almost kind of sounds like a Queen song, just not as on a grander scale. But I love this album. This is a fantastic album, and it has Smooches on the cover. And he's great. So Joe, you're wrong.
Joe, you're wrong on that one.
I was listening to you the whole time. I'm like, I like your oldest singing to it. I think that's the coolest part of this album. The cover's pretty good too, but short. I mean, it's okay. It's fine. It's not bad. Tim, give us number 3.
Okay. Well, as we narrow these choices down,
we're getting down to the meat and potatoes now.
Yeah. Shout out to Matt Sharp. My number 3 is going to be the Green Album. I think it starts off pretty good. Like you guys have mentioned a couple times already, it's kind of a safe album. The second half, I think, kind of blends together a little bit. But overall, like it's produced really well. It's written really well. You can tell that. Excuse me. You can tell that they're missing something with Matt Sharp's departure, but you can also tell that they're trying to compensate for it. And there's just not that many choices left, so something has to be number 3.
And it sure as hell ain't the number 1 and 2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like I said, I think it's a really fun, catchy album. It's just good. It's good.
Yeah, it's just there. It's there. I like Hash Pipe. I think that's a catchy song. Islands in the Sun, like I could do without it, but it's not a terrible song. It's not Beverly Hills, And and then it kind of loses steam a little bit the second half, but it's also like it's interesting enough that I'd probably want to revisit it.
Well, and you know what's funny is you were talking about in our previous video about how a lot of times they have A side to their album, the B side to their album, and I think the second half is good for Green Album, but it doesn't sound like the first half.
Oh yeah, no,
It's
this
almost a
totally fits
completely
the
different.
formula.
Yeah,
Totally fits that
and
formula.
I think there are really good songs on the second half of Green that just are not. After you listen to such like upbeat songs and kind of a poppier tune in the first half, then you go to the second half, you're like, this isn't quite the same as what I was
Sure.
just listening to. This is almost a completely different album, and they're
Yeah.
good. They're just not, they don't flow very well into the other one. Jason, what's your number 3? I'm curious on this one.
I mean, they ain't many left here.
Gratitude.
Gratitude Part 2.
And this could easily be swapped with Ube, but I guess when I was listening to him, I was probably pretty drunk and feeling happy, so I went with the more poppier one. I love this album. Like, this is, they are 2 for 2 at this point in their career. They followed up Ube with this shit. It screams just summer beach good vibes. Like, California Kids is a great opening. Shout out to Ed because it'd probably be on his top 5. Winning Your Sale is fantastic. Thank God for Girls. When I saw the song title, I thought, oh shit, here we go again. Here comes some bullshit. But the song is good. Like, it's good. Girl, We Got a Good Thing could have been a Beach Boys song. Do You Want to Get High? Again, as a longtime Weezer fan, that's a trigger for like, oh shit, here we go again. But it's slow, it's groovy, it still kind of fits that beach theme. King of the World is fucking great. It's fantastic. Summer Lane and Drunk Dory is great. LA Girl sounds like a blues song. That, like, it's got that swing, like dun, dun, dun. The oohs and ahs are good in it. Jacked Up is a piano driven song. Rivers goes falsetto on it, but they still knock it out of the park. The closing track is a decent acoustic track and a good closer. And that last line, I just want the summer to end, is almost a warning or a hidden message that the good Weezer was about to end again. And also a shout out for the B-side. I love the USA, and shout out to Patton Oswalt for that music video, because if you haven't seen it, it's so good. I like that song. I know a lot of people hate that. Made for I Love the USA, but it's so patriotic, but yet not at the same time. Like, it's so good. It's just that was a fun era of Weezer, and then we went through the dark ages again. But
again,
yeah, you see, you got to be a fucking masochist to be a Weezer fan, because he'll pull the rug out from you every time.
I mean, okay, Human's good. Van Weezer's fun.
Don't fall for it, Joe. I'm telling you.
So I'm assuming, and you said Seasons were good, so I'm assuming the next thing they put out is going to be like terrible. It's got to be, right?
I don't trust them.
Who's producing it? That's the real question.
That's where they get into. Number 3 for me is going to be Maladroit. That's
a decent pick.
When I listened to this first, obviously I went in chronological order, so I'm listening to it, and I'm like, all right, I really like this album, and I remember liking this album previously, but it's like an underrated thing. There's not a lot of hits on it. There's nothing you're going to be like, oh, you're singing that. Oh, I know what album that was from. But I was like, this is just a good, sturdy album. I mean, it's just good. So I went through it. My note says this is a good album. That's all my notes say. I have no other notes on Maladroit. It says this is a good album. I need to re-listen to it. So today I re-listened to it, and I was like, holy shit, this is a great album.
You still didn't take notes.
Still didn't take notes.
Yeah.
I was mowing the yard when I did it. I was like, holy shit, this is a great album.
Joe's out there, whoa.
And, I was like, I don't know I can't remember where I even had it. I think I had it like 5 or 6, somewhere down there. And I was like, this is better than the Green album. I was like, this is way better than that. So this is where it's at. It's good stuff. I love, Jason talked a lot about the
You want me to
songs-
cut? You want me to edit what I said because you
Yeah.
said remember it, and you want me to
Remember
cut
that.
that out and put that here?
Yeah,
Oh,
just
you
put that right
totally
here.
should, but you should do it like in the, like it's fading out, like the video screen's shrinking, and yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be really good. He nailed a lot of the things that I would like to talk about now. American Gigolo, I think, is a great opener. Dope Nose, Keep Fishing, great. Take Control is an amazing song. Slob is great. Burnt Jam's great. Space Rock, I liked. I don't know how great it is. December is amazing. Possibilities was really good. Fall Together is good. Slaves, great. So yeah, the things that Jason said about it really kind of nailed my thought.
I'll tell you, if you haven't seen the video for Keep Fishing, watch it when we're done recording because it's the Muppet Show, and like Weezer's the guest, and like Patrick gets kidnapped by Miss Piggy, and there's this whole story. They got animal drumming for him. It's fuck. You could tell Weezer was like Rivers is so happy. He's trying not to. He's playing a song, but like Kermit's in his face, and he's like laughing. It's very wholesome.
That's if you ever put me on if you ever get ODD on the Muppet Show, I'll just probably die right there. I'm gonna go hang out. We should be up in the balcony with Walter and
They're in it too.
Statler.
They're in it too.
Yeah,
I mean, that has to be.
Statler and Waldorf, something like that. But that's where we'd be hanging out, I'm sure. All right.
Oh.
So that was number 3 for me.
Before we go further, I wanted to say it in the beginning of the video, but I forgot. As long as our number 14th place is the same, and our 1 and 2, regardless of whichever order, are the same, we're good.
Yeah.
And that's where we ended
Well,
up.
it looks like we're good.
We're good.
See ya.
The middle, I was curious about the middle for everybody, but I was like, the middle doesn't matter as much to me. If somebody got crazy and didn't pick the ones we have left for 1 and 2, or somebody, I could have given you Ratitude at number 13. I could have given it to you, I guess, but it'd have been.
But then you'd have to pick something that's actually worse than
Yeah,
it.
that's where the tough point would be.
If Tim would have done that, I would have printed me out a new sign. I'd get rid of my Ed sign and put a picture of Tim and say, okay, boomer.
That's right.
Hey, I'm not that old.
Number 2, I just picked last, so it's not me. So it'd be Jason to give us his number 2.
God, you gonna make me go fucking first on this?
I'm gonna switch things all the
Well,
way.
before you do, I think it's clear that like everybody knows what the best Weezer stuff is.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
and they've been trying like an entire career trying to match these last two. And so,
Yep.
yeah, the order, like, that's personal preference. But clearly, if you're a casual fan like me, you could have you could have stopped.
See,
But these two you should listen to.
I like OK Human a lot. I'm glad they made it.
So, see, to me, the White Album is kind of like a modern version of the Blue Album. It's not as good, but it's and Ubaid is like kind of a modern version of Pinkerton. It's not as good, but so they're kind of there, but not. They're still like a huge. What's the word? Like favorites. There's like still a huge gap between 1 and 2 and 3.
Oh yeah.
My number 2 is going to be the Blue Album. And again, like the White Album and Ube, it could go. You could swap these two at any fucking point, depending on the day.
Today's Tuesday, maybe.
Yep.
Today's Friday.
Tuesday.
Today's Friday.
That's right.
Oh, damn, all these albums I got to scroll. Thank you, Sofa King Rad.
Yeah, shout out for real. Like, again, you should sign up for the Patreon and all that good stuff because we could do your band.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you give us
You
David
could
Bowie.
You can give us like Frank Zappa, who's got like 112 albums.
I ain't doing Frank Zappa 112.
Technical difficulties there.
Yeah.
Nobody heard that.
You could give us.
Who's got 5 albums? So you can give us somebody who has 5 albums? No.
You can give us the Germs. They have 1 album.
Yeah.
I'm ranking this one last and first.
Yeah, right.
Album cover.
Artwork is tough though.
So this is the definition of a perfect album. There isn't a bad song on it. There isn't even just a meh or just okay song. All 10 tracks could have been top 10 Weezer songs. I'm talking about Blue here, right? Yeah, my name is Jonas, one of the best opening tracks from any album, period. I love that fucking song.
Mm-hmm.
In the Garage, The World Was Turned, Left Me Here were always two of my favorites. Undone sold me on buying the album back in the day. It's an odd song with like the conversations, and if you've ever seen him, like, if you've seen him play it live, like way back, I can't remember, it was like Conan or one of those talk shows. It's real funny because you'll hear like Brian and Matt Sharp like and Rivers like just having conversations in the mic. So they like try to replicate it live, which was really fun.
That'd be fun to watch.
Surf Wax America is just about surfing. You take your car to work, I'll take my board. And when you're out of fuel, I'm still afloat. It's so dumb and cool. Again, it's dumb lyrics, but it fucking works. Say It Ain't So. It's a really sad song about alcoholism, but you don't really pick up on it because it's got this like reggae fun sound to it. Buddy Holly is another song I can hear my little kids singing it when she was like 3 or 4. That ooey ooh, I can hear her doing that. Holidays, a swing rock sound. The whole album is perfect. Even the B-sides of this, like, they could do no wrong at this point. Suzanne, Michael and Carly, Jamie, like, just, like the whole thing. It's just amazing.
Yes, it is.
Solid choice.
It is. I am going to go a different route than you on this one, number 2, though. I'm going to throw Pinkerton down there.
Let me scroll.
Where's the sign?
Yeah.
Where's the sign?
Scroll over here and scroll on back.
I think Pinkerton is an amazing album.
There it is. There it is.
I can't fault you for it too hard. I mean,
If this
Still
album,
number 2.
if number 1 didn't exist for me, this is obviously the number 1. This album is better than like 90% of your band's albums, first album, second album. It's amazing. It's almost like Jason said. I don't know if there's not a bad song on this album. Tired of Sex is a great opening.
I haven't talked about Pinkerton yet.
I know it. Get You's there. No Other One. Why Bother?
Why bother?
Yeah,
Why bother?
The Weezer goes southern. Across the Sea, The Good Life, El Scorcho, Pink Triangle, Falling for You, Butterfly. I mean, all of them. Just great songs. They're awesome. This is an amazing album. Very similar to how we talked about Leonard Skinner last week or whatever week you've seen that, or next week, wherever Leonard Skinner and Weezer fall.
It'll be out before this.
Okay. When a band starts so strong with their first 2 albums, and specifically the first album when it comes up, but it's really hard to follow up. Like once you get past, you're like, oh my God, these are like, you've reached the top of the mountain, and now we're at,
Now we're at the Green Album.
yeah, you've made a sandwich, you've eaten the sandwich, and now there's crumbs left, and you're like, well, okay, I still love this band, but man, you started so strong. Tim, what's your number 2?
So before I reveal that, Joe, I'm going to point out that these last 2, I don't have any notes on. How I started this deep dive was I just put the first album on and I listened until I felt the need to take notes, with the intent of enjoying everything. And these last 2 I had heard before, so I kind of knew what to expect and where I would end up. So having said that, I think this album has gotten a lot better since the last time I heard it. But it's still not number 1. So for number 2, I'm going to go with the Blue Album, also known as Weezer. And I could do without Buddy Holly, just because it's so kitschy. And it's like your first album, you're already kind of like trading in nostalgia. It's something that's going to prevent me from delving further into your catalog, which it did with Weezer. So I'm very happy that I went through these 14 albums,
I mean,
even if I didn't enjoy them all.
As an
this
old
one I did enjoy.
As an old fucker like me who grew up on MTV,
Mm-hmm.
they played the ever-loving shit out of Buddy Holly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
As an old fucker who's older than you, I remember, and I was sick of it then. You know, it's like I'm looking at it now. This was released on May 10th, 1994. So we're just barely a month after like the entire music world changing forever. So obviously it was recorded before the April of '94. They got Rick Ocasek to produce it. That's always a good sign for me, at least. Like if you get Rick Ocasek to produce your first album, like, you know, shout out to the Bad Brains.
That's pretty impressive that they had that produced from the first album.
Yeah, because Rick Ocasek didn't need to do this. You know,
No.
In 94, he was already like, where's my mountain of gold I'm going to go sleep on, you know? The Sweater Song, didn't enjoy that back in the day, probably because the video was played to death. Hearing it now, though, it's kind of funny. Probably one of their best songs. We'll get into that in a different episode, I'm sure. But yeah, no, it's solid. And yeah, you know, this is a great debut album. And Weezer are one of the few bands in existence where their second album actually does surpass it. So for number 2, I'm going with number 1, the Blue Album.
All right.
We kind of talked about on Leonard Skinner with like their first album and how they like had time to write the songs and hone it and make that's why it's so damn good. Weezer's the same way, like the kitchen tape demos and like you could tell.
Well, that's true about every band. The joke in the business is, you know, you have your whole life to write the first album, and then you got about 10 months to write the second album.
Yeah. Actually, I have a good story about the Blue Album. So I bought it on CD. I was like, I guess 14 in 94. And I had a girlfriend. I was in 8th grade. Yeah, it was the summer between 8th and 8th grade.
I was 11 years old.
My girlfriend at the time, the cowboy was there. He'll remember this story. But I was going to play a prank on her. I was going to dress punky and like tell her I went punk. So
joke's on you, right?
Yeah, I had to spray like wash out, and I did my hair blue, and I put on like huge baggy pants that were like falling down, and I had like a fake piercing. And then she came over, and me and Cowboy were sitting on the porch, and she just lost her shit. And she was like, "That's not real." I was like, "Yeah, it is. I'm punk now. You know, Green Day's my number 1 band. Dookie, blah, blah, blah." She got pissed off and she chased me around the block. And then at the end, like we had a CD player on the porch and my Weezer CD was there. And she like took my Weezer CD and my blue CD out. And my driveway like had a dip in it and it was always full of water. She was holding it over it. And she was like, "I'm going to drop it. Tell me it's not real." Cowboy, thank you, Cowboy, said, "You won't do it." She went, dropped my Weezer CD in the water puddle. And it still played, though, afterwards. Uh-huh. But that's my Weezer story. Fuck you, Cowboy.
You know, that's
shout out to Amy if she's
like and subscribe.
That's good old technology right there for you. You could drop it, just, you know, wash that bad boy off and play again.
Then, like a year later, you know, I found Manic Panic and, you know, was out with the water hose, like washing it out. And my dad got pissed off because it was, you know, my hair was green. It wasn't coming out.
Oh, Manic Panic. I remember trying to dye my hair. Was I trying to dye green and my head turned blue? My hair was just as brown as it could be, but my scalp was blue, blue, blue.
I don't. That's bullshit. I don't believe you ever had hair.
You know, I had a mohawk for about a month until the rest
Yeah,
of my hair
you
fell
did have a
off.
mohawk.
There's a little dip right here. All right, number one. Moving along here, my number one is the Blue Album. Whereas I think Pinkerton is amazing, and I don't really believe there's a bad song on it. I just think that the Blue Album is just a tit above that. It's amazing. There's not a bad song on it either. The starting off, My Name is Jonas is amazing. Going through all your hits, the Buddy Hollies, the Undones, the Say It Ain't So, the In the Garage, Holiday, No One Else is awesome. The World Has Turned and Left Me Here. Surf Wax America. I love the going surfing part. Only in Dreams. Just great. A very I know that we say there's an iconic album here, but this is one of those. This is
Shout out to Ed.
This is an iconic album, right along there with Pinkerton. I mean, I think that these two albums put together are just something magical that happened for a band to have like two albums this outstanding, and obviously it's built their whole career.
All right.
Tim?
Well, I'm going to make that argument for the next album, actually.
Go ahead and plop that down.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree that the Blue Album was more of a commercial success. But I think what influenced the rest of the career and Rivers' outlook and songwriting choices and choices to bring in outside songwriters, etc., was Pinkerton's failure. I think everything after that's kind of been a response. Shout out to Matt Sharp. That dude is just awesome. And you could really hear it on Pinkerton. It took everything that the Blue Album did right and then did it bigger and did it better. Yeah, if you're gonna measure success just by commercial like acceptance or whatever, then yeah, I could see where it's a disappointment. But musically, yeah, it sounds so good. And it's and I think the lack of any real like hit songs off of it or whatever actually adds to the overall experience, because you could sit and listen to the whole album and enjoy the whole album, and it's not like, oh, you're sitting along and then all of a sudden Buddy Holly shows up and you're like, oh god, but I've heard this song 10 trillion times. Whereas Pinkerton, it's like it's even. If you're gonna listen to one song, you're gonna listen to them all.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just everybody's always known since 1996 that Pinkerton's the better album, and I'm sticking by it.
Well, not everybody, but
no, of course not. But by everybody, I mean me, and you can send all your hate mail to me.
I mean, especially in '96, because not that many people paid attention to Pinkerton.
No,
it wasn't until like years later that Pinkerton became
and it was known in my circle for sure.
Same. Yeah, we fucking loved Pinkerton. So my notes for Pinkerton is: this is the definition of a perfect album. There isn't a bad song on it. There isn't even a meh or just okay song on it. All 10 tracks could be top 10 Weezer songs. And I'm sure Tim probably has his own list of like lost album tragedies that we'll never hear. But to me, like the two biggest albums that are just lost to time that we'll never get, that is the biggest travesty to me, is Green Day's Cigarettes and Valentines and Weezer's Songs from the Black Hole. Because my God, I want that fucking album so much. I don't want to like delve too deep into the Pinkerton Black Hole abyss. But like he wrote a concept record, and his character Jonas is in it, and there's like 2 girls and like 2 other guys and a robot, and it's like this whole story about them saving a planet, and the first song, like they've released bits and pieces of it over the years and different versions, like different quality of it. But like I want like a full official release of Songs in the Black Hole. But Tired of Sex is a top tier opening track. No other one kind of brings back that swing rock sound. Why Bother is so fun to sing along to. Joe, don't say a fucking word. I don't give a fuck. Across the Sea is amazing. I know you like to bring up fucking. You did it in the White Stripes. You did it in Leonard Skinner. Shut the fuck up about Across the Sea. It's good.
What are you talking about?
Be quiet, Josephus.
Hey, he says that you're 18. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
We're not talking about a 16-year-old girl like the White Stripes. We're talking about somebody who's of legal age.
I mean, that's debatable.
Shout out to Desmond Child.
Pink Triangle is about falling for a girl who turned out to be
not a lesbian.
Well, he thought it was a lesbian, this whole Pink Triangle thing, but because she was sporting the Pink Triangle. But in the end, like years later, he found out that she was just a supporter, that she wasn't actually a lesbian, which makes the song all the more great because he like completely, blew his chance or didn't take a chance because he thought wrong. El Scorcho, The Good Life Gets
if I had a nickel for every time.
Joe has the opposite problem. See, Butterfly is just a fucking beautiful closer.
And again, we're under 35 minutes for the whole thing. Like, that is one thing I can really appreciate about Weezer is, man, their albums are to the point.
Yeah.
And again, the B-sides for this album, besides like the songs in the Black Hole, like Blast Off and You Gave Your Love to Me Softly, I Just Threw Out the Love of My Dreams, which has Rachel Hayden from That Dog, Waiting on You. Like, again, they could do no wrong at this point. It is such a shame that this album fucking failed commercially and put Rivers down the path of Ratitude, because
or even the Red album, honestly. Like, I see the Red album as a direct response to this failing.
Make Believe too, like.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah, totally. Yep.
Like, if you haven't heard Pinkerton by this point in your life, it's like there's even, I don't really care for emo, but it is like the fucking emo album that spawned like modern emo.
All right, gentlemen, quickly, we're going to do our final thoughts here. So, Tim, final thoughts.
Oh, we got to do a Yarbles list.
Oh, shit.
So fucking
great. Yeah, please.
Then we're going to do very quickly our final thoughts after this. So,
drum roll. He's got Ratitude at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. So we got some Van Weezer, Pacific.
We got like 6 here and shit.
Man, Maladroit real low, huh?
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
It's a little small. I can't see it, so you guys all have to.
All right, so
I'll have to watch it on the big screen when this comes out.
For our audio listeners, our old listeners like Tim, 14 we have Ratitude. 13 is Van Weezer. Number 12 is Pacific Daydream. Number 11 is Maladroit. Number 10 is Hurley. Number 9 is the White Album. Number 8 is
Everything will be all right in the end.
Yeah, I was going to try to have that fun thing we said. Ibida.
So far then, Maladroit and Everything Will Be All Right are the hot takes.
Well, to me, Everything Will Be All Right is right where it needs to be. Maladroit is definitely.
He's got the Black Album over Ube, the White Album, Hurley, Maladroit.
I mean, if the Black Album is your thing, I could see it working, but I can't see anybody's actually like enjoying that. But yeah, no, if you do, great.
Number 6 is what the hell?
Okay, Human.
Okay, Human. 5 is Red Album. 4 is Make Believe. 3 is the Green Album. 2 is the Blue Album, and 1 is Pinkerton.
Oh, that's
okay,
3
so
Pinkertons.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Yeah, so the 3 of y'all don't know what you're doing. This is the man who's got Maladroit at number 11. Y'all are you're jumping on his bandwagon?
Says the man who has Pinkerton at number 2.
Y'all are jumping on the Black Album at number 7. That's whose band, y'all are hitching y'all's band to Yarbles there, huh?
Hey, you know when you're right, you're right.
That's right.
Yeah,
Y'all need to
right.
move
And
up to
he's
Black
right.
Album, huh?
Like you said, the ones in the middle don't matter.
That's right. All right, quickly, Tim. Any final thoughts?
Well, let me first thank you guys for having me on again. And a shout out to Ed. We miss you. We love you. Enjoy your sabbatical in the nunnery. And and we hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
So, making fun of people's moms. Yeah, I don't know. Like I crammed 14 albums over the course of 2 days. Not really knowing what I was going to get into. Overall, I'd say half the catalog was listenable. And of that listenable half, I'd say half of that, so a quarter of the whole thing, is actually pretty good. They have some tropes. I think I mentioned it earlier in episode 1, which came out, yesterday, that I know where I would have fallen off if I was a fan the whole time. And that would be album number 5, Make Believe. I think the Red Album was after that, and I would have given that a chance. But between those two, I probably would have. I'd been done. Listening to these, the first 4 albums are all very listenable, and you can find a lot of really good stuff there. And then after that, it's few and far between. And ask yourself, what were the Foo Fighters doing?
So mine, I would go 1 through 6, and then definitely 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 if you want a little harder, faster Weezer. It's not that hard, but it's a little harder. And 6 if you just want an album to fall asleep to.
Yeah, I'll tell you 5 and up for mine. Okay, Human to Blue that's good stuff. We got some good things going there.
Well, and I'd even do 7 to 1 is listenable.
Yeah.
And you're going to find stuff that you don't like on most of that. But you're going to find stuff that you do like on most of that.
Absolutely. All right, gang. Well, there you have it. These are the definitive ranked albums of Weezer. This is part 2 of our Weezer rant and rank.
Weezerthon.
Weezerthon. And this is probably our longest rant and rank just here at part 2 that we've done so far. So thank you so much for sticking with us, especially you, Janet Simp from Discord. We really appreciate you watching.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. I got shout-outs here. Sorry. Shout out to Bryson.
Housekeeping.
Shout out to Kristen McKinney on our Facebook group.
I love that.
And shout out to Evan from the Discord.
There we go. Please like, share, subscribe, and for those of you who are frequent flyers, talk to the flight attendant. They go from city to city, having to stay in hotels with no friends. Well, we could be their friend. We could,
but only for a night.
We could be what keeps them from being lonely at night. Also, maybe they'll let you get on the intercom and tell the other passengers about us. Wouldn't that be great? They'll thank you for it. Until we see you next time, please stay safe.
Until they get those air bills for their Wi-Fi.
Please stay safe and make good decisions. Bye now.